We are live. Welcome back, everyone. Hopefully, everyone's having a great week as usual. On this episode, we're going to cover the second part of Men's Mental Health Month. We're definitely going to talk. I'm going to check in with the boys. It's been about a week since we've talked. Wait, has it been about a week?
Some of that.
It's been about a week.
Just shy of a week.
Yeah, just
But
shy
one
of
more
a
day.
week. So we decided to break it into two parts. That's why we're all wearing different clothes. But we are going to cover the part two. We're going to definitely cover a little bit of things. I got an interesting story I want to run by the boys that I think they really will kind of cover this all together and put it all in perspective. RC has some numbers to give out, and we're going to talk about how it's currently being a man in today's society. Not necessarily stigmas, but more just generally speaking of what we actually deal with personally, and what we see out in the beginning, or see out in the crowd, and what we observe
In the wild.
into the wild west of America. All right, let's go ahead and start off with Ed. How you doing, Ed?
I have a question. You don't mind if I crack up a cold one, right?
Go ahead, crack open a cold one. I'm not gonna crack open
Let's
a
go,
cold
boys.
one, just because I gotta work out in a little bit. So I got gym after this, so I just got.
It's
some
called
water.
fuel, bro. It's called protein.
Statistically
Cheers.
proven that alcohol helps increase volume.
Believe me, when I used to have a home gym, I would do a couple shots and get after it. But I don't have a home gym. I got to go to one of those commercial gyms and got to deal with that.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
It's frowned upon in society to crack open to do a shotgun of a beer before your set, especially when you're doing 5 sets, right?
Planet
Why don't we-
Fitness was frowned upon, apparently. I
They
don't
don't
know.
like that. They don't like that.
I mean, everything's going good, man. Just chilling, working. So, Miranda's birthday was it Tuesday? So we celebrated.
That's his girlfriend, by the way. If y'all don't know that.
Yeah, if y'all didn't know,
That's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the
Sorry,
fourth-
ladies. Ed has a girlfriend. Yeah, you just broke so many hearts today, Ed. Right now.
It's okay. Now you can.
our
go for it.
viewership in the dirt.
Yeah.
Uh,
20%.
But yeah,
down.
we just celebrated her birthday, and then I've been working. But everything's going good. Just chilling.
Got it. It's
You
good.
know.
It's good. Yeah. RC,
Waiting for the 21st.
what's? Oh yeah. What what he's saying is we're gonna start back up and we're gonna start filming on the 21st.
As of the 21st.
So,
yeah.
like,
Well,
we're not-
so
yeah,
I wasn't
yeah.
talking about that, but
Well,
yes, we
well,
are gonna
also
go.
we're gonna
I'm
go.
talking
We're gonna. I'm
about-
coming
we're gonna
up.
go see
Yeah, we're gonna see
Terrifier 1 in
Terrifier
theaters.
in Terrifier 1 in theaters. It's never
Yeah.
been
For
shot
the
in
first
theaters.
time in theaters, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was like a low budget, so it just got released like out there in the streaming and stuff. It never got in theaters, and so they're re-releasing it, like re-releasing first time
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
theaters. Since
That's
part
awesome.
2 was bigger, and then part 3 is gonna be. Oh,
gonna
part
be
3's gotta be
epic.
so good.
It's gonna be epic. All right, RC, how about you? How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I realized I put way too much tequila in this ranch water. That's gonna be fun.
I mean,
Um,
is it a bad thing?
No, it's not.
Yes,
You're just-
when I can't,
you're just-
when I
you're
can
just
barely
saving
drink
yourself-
it, yes, it's a bad
You're-
thing.
You're just saving yourself having to get up and get more.
Make another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Volume, right? Anyway,
You said you're on a time crunch. You're saving time.
Yeah, definitely.
go.
It's not never a bad thing. Too much tequila is never a bad thing.
I'm on
Well-
a time crunch because I'm waiting on. I want to go eat dinner eventually. But no, other than that, man, I'm doing great. I finally got some job offer interviews that came back, and I'm kind of waiting out to hear what's gonna happen with those. So yeah, everything's looking pretty good right now.
All right, it's looking up for the homie. All right, nice.
What you watching?
Huh?
What you watching?
Oh, that's just a screensaver. It's like just ambient colors, purples, blues. It's like a little
Oh.
laser show thing.
RC's watching a
Yeah.
full
I was like,
movie.
that looks like
doing
that
this
looks like a
episode.
dope part of a movie. Something just exploded.
No, it's connected to my PC, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'll put screensaver over there so it actually looks cool."
No, I didn't even notice it. And for me, I'm not really doing much, guys. I've been just I'm on vacation right now, so this is
and he didn't come up.
I do. I wanted to so much. I wanted to so much, but like I had to. I have a lot of stuff going on down here with my family. I have to kind of do like today. I was with my dad all day. Like so, me and Ed drank till like 4 a.m. And
Fucking did.
and so
we
like
check
last
out his channel. We were up playing.
so honestly,
last night?
yeah, we drank till like 4.
Fuckers, you should have let me know, man.
It was,
I wasn't doing shit last night. I sat here
Mother-
fucking.
Every time
Watching
we
Star
ask
Wars.
you, you say no.
No,
And
but
the
even
one
if I
time we fucking
don't
ask.
play, I'll come and just audio and bullshit with y'all. Even
Oh,
if I'm not
dude,
playing with
yeah.
y'all.
We had Caleb in. We played some Demonologist,
it was
and then we
alright.
played some Golf with Friends. We played some Left 4 Dead 2. I woke up Joel, and he joined chat.
So it was really fun. But yeah, so this morning I had to get up like at 8 So we went to bed at 4. I had to get up at 8 to take care of,
Ow.
like go help my father with some stuff. So I was there doing that. It was a nice day. I got to hang out with my mom. I got to see my mom and work with my dad on some stuff. But that's what I have. I've been on vacation. This is the first vacation in, I want to say, 12 years that I've ever
That's-
had where I didn't have to work another job or work on school. So
yeah, I think you said
yeah.
that on the last.
Yeah,
one,
it's
or after we
insane.
got off.
Yeah, it's to me, it still kind of blows my mind. It's like people will say like, "Oh, you had 4 days of vacation during the week." That's not really a vacation. Because if I take Friday, it's me taking off 2 days. So if I took off Thursday, Friday, that's the 2 days I took off. Saturday and Sunday are not vacation days; those are just days I'm off. So
Those are given, yeah.
yeah, that's just because I work 5 days a week. So this is the first time I've ever been gifted, the full week and then my already 2 days off. So that's
And
what
basically, had no plans.
well, I had plans. I mean, I accomplished everything I wanted to do. I competed in a tournament yesterday. We did Horror Night Wednesdays. I went and saw my
did.
family. I went to the lake house with Joel. I accomplished so much this last. It's not like I didn't just do nothing. My days were basically booked every day, which is really good. I worked out, so that's why. And today I'm hopefully going to go. Hopefully, I'm going to get in the gym. Still feeling a little lethargic, but hopefully I get after it. All right. Well, that was a nice little check-in. So I'll start off kind of opening up with this. It's not. I'm not going to read it verbatim. I'm just going to surmise it for everyone, just because it's a long story. So there's this, and I'm sure RC might have heard about it. I don't know about you, Ed. I don't know who you follow or what, but in 2006 there was a lady. She made a book called Self-Made Man, and in this book she's has kind of the features to where like she has like short hair, and just looking from neck up, you can like she kind of looks kind of like with more masculine features. But so she decided for 18 months that she is going to become a man in every aspects of what is becoming a man. So she would like she would put on the clothes like she would what's it called, ace wrap like her chest to make it seem like she didn't have
So you
it's more
yeah.
flat. She would wear like manly stuff. She joined like a bowling league. She went on dates with women. She did everything that a man would do. And these are some of the things she said she noticed that and I'll get to the big point. One of the things she noticed is that it was really hard to always impress women on dates. Like she was like, it was like countless. She was like working so hard to impress these women. Another thing is that she felt that everyone like things like, so a good, I guess more of a bad thing for women, or good thing for men, bad thing for women. When she went to like a car dealership to buy a car, she went both as herself as Nora and as when she transitioned into like her male counterpart
To
Ned.
be the man, yeah.
Yeah, it was Ned.
Okay.
Yeah, so she went and found out that there was two different conversations that were had with the same car dealership. One was like more flirtatious. She ended up having to, I think, pay more as a woman versus as a man, like get the offer. So that was kind of one thing that happened. And the last thing that she noticed was that she was treated horrifically as a man.
As a man.
Like not like comparable to what she dealt with as a woman. So
Well,
yeah. So
because most individuals are going to be nicer to a woman than a man, right? A man can go fuck himself.
yeah.
Like,
So
it's
Yeah.
and it actually took the toll where she had to check herself into a mental health care. She had to check herself into like a rehabilitation for mental health because of it. And then I forgot, I don't know what year it was. Obviously, it's after 2006. She ended up going to Sweden and she got medically medically euthanized. And one of the big thing is that they think it was related to this piece that she made on this book called on her studies of Self-Made Man. And she on an interview she said, they asked her, do you think women know what it's like to be a man? And she said women will never know what it's like to be a man ever, because like so she ended up taking her own life. In Sweden they have the laws where you can do that.
you can actually do that.
Yeah. So that was the kind of the story I wanted to get to, and I wanted your take on this. What do you guys think, Ed? I'll start with you because I know RC already has some stuff and he's formulating. What do you think, Ed?
Well, that she's got a point. Like, there's a lot of things that people will never like. Well, I guess women won't ever know that we have to go through, and it goes back to everything we were saying in the previous one. All the stuff that we're brought up to do, and the way we're supposed to act and present ourselves, and just yeah, like the whole concept of trying to like. I work in the service industry, right? I help people. I'm working most of the time when you're helping. Like if I go and I help a woman, you can't just go straight up like you can to a guy or whatever, and just be like, hey, how can I help you? Sometimes you got to be like a higher voice or more of a softer rather than coming in just like, do you need any help? Because sometimes they'll take it as like, why you being mean or something like that with the tone. So you have to we have to like change ourselves sometimes to be able to present to whoever we're trying to help or talk to,
Yeah.
rather than a woman who's just always, most of the time just the same.
Hmm.
Yeah. And do you think
And
that? Good.
huh?
No, no, good.
I was saying, then of course, with the whole car thing, yeah, a lot of people do that, which is the weird thing is that like we get, it's like the guy thing that they'll talk to a guy to get a car, and yeah, they'll overcharge because like they'll think the woman doesn't know anything, which is very messed up.
Yeah. Well,
And like a lot of places will do that.
yeah, it's not just, and no, this is not just a woman versus man thing. This is also an older versus younger thing
That's
because
true.
they'll overcharge for younger. They'll get younger people more
Yeah.
than they'll get an old
Oh, yeah.
experience. And like if my dad and I go to a dealership, and go for the same car, they're gonna charge me probably more because they think he has
They're
more
gonna
experience.
try to get away
They're
with
gonna
it.
try to
Yeah.
sneak it by me, like with the extra stuff, thinking that I don't know, and no thinking that my dad has bought cars before. He understands this process, so they're gonna go and like just get them as much as they believe they can get them for, but which is gonna
Well,
be
yeah, I
more
mean,
than what they. Yeah,
you hear that all the time with like young military service members, right? They go to buy their first car while they just started in the military because they finally have money, and they wind up with like a 17% interest rate and all this astronomical shit, and they paid out the ass, and
The stuff you
it's because they
don't
don't know.
do.
Yeah, they didn't have any
so
guidance.
it's not just women versus men on
Well,
that, but
yeah,
it's
it's not.
also.
It's not.
But that's a very common thing, though.
But then
But given that,
it
yeah,
also goes back
go ahead.
to the service thing, like with the whole voice and everything. Yeah, you also do that to younger or older people. You can't just go up to a whole person either and be like, "How can I help you?" It's, "Hi, how can I help you today?" You kind of you be a Elisha, like most like men if they're walking or something, like, "Hey, how can I help you?" And it's nothing. But if you come off a different tone, it's gonna be you're gonna seem aggressive or you're gonna seem mad. So you kind of have to like change your style with whoever you interact with. At least from my point of view, that I've seen working in the service industry.
No, agreed. You definitely have to change your tone a little bit sometimes, and your approach and your body language. But for the most part, generally speaking, you don't have to change it too much to where like you're talking with a deeper voice or anything like that. It's not too bad of a change, but you do.
No,
But there is different approaches.
Just making your voice a little softer. That's really what it is. It's just trying to be
Yeah,
a little more approachable.
I have a customer service voice, so whatever.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
customer is like, "Hello, how can I help you?" You got to really change up the tone, and you got to make it sound like like inviting for them for them to invite to them to the conversation. But yeah, so that story did like speak to me because it is really sad.
it's very sad.
It's like extremely sad to the point where like she did this experiment for 18 months and eventually has to go through with this mental breakdown and it was a wake up call hopefully to a lot of people that like we do get treated pretty bad generally, not all the time, not we're not getting spit on by everyone. Nobody's coming up to us and just stomping on our faces and whatnot, but we do, like, we're always going to get treated bad comparable to women. That's just the way it goes. RC, what about you? What's your take?
I mean, well, first off, it is sad that she endured potentially who knows how much, either verbal, physical, or whatever abuse during that period of time that she was portraying herself as a man to the point that she decided that taking her own life was a better option, especially if, you know, I don't know the whole story. And now that you bring this up, I'm going to go do some research on my own. But if she was perfect, sane mind and body to go into this experiment, and then from this experiment has this reaction to it, that's terrible. That speaks volumes for what you know an average man would do. And don't get me wrong, I'm from South Texas. I've spent my whole life here. I've been all over the place, and I've been treated uglier in different states as a man than I have in Texas, and I'll speak on that, right? But even here, you do have that same point. I was a country boy. I rode bulls. I grew up in the country, farming, doing all that shit. And in those environments, you know, the whole term cowboy up or be a man, those things are, that's it. If you're being whining like a bitch, if you're complaining about something, or if you're not doing something that other men would do without, you know, questioning, you're looked at as a lesser because of those decisions. And to see that there's beratement that comes with that just from peers, let alone people you don't even know, I can only imagine what she actually went through, depending on what she was in. Like men in New York, for example, they're aggressive as shit. Most, you know, men in New York area are Italian, and Italians have a temper issue from time to time. Same thing with other individuals like Polish and things like that. Just I can only imagine what she may have gone through, and I'm not going to sit here and say men have it the worst out of everybody, but it is something to think about that isn't brought up, that isn't discussed. That we do go through a lot of things that are violent or ugly or you know belittling even. And I come from a background, as I've said a million times, with corrections and law enforcement, and a woman and a man in that field are looked at as the same, right? And it's one of the only fields that I apologize. It's one of the only fields that you're, you know, with construction, a woman is still not going to be looked at as the same as a man, right? She's not going to be doing the same things. In an office, same concept. In law enforcement, it don't work that way. In law enforcement, the woman is looked at to be exactly the same as a man. She has the same duties. She has to fight the same fights. If she has to be on her own in a patrol car and do the thing, guess what? She's on her own in a patrol car doing the thing. Like, there's no, we're going to hold your hand because you're a woman versus a man. Yeah, there's some situations that a man gets over put in a sense. Well, yeah, if there's a heightened sense of danger, we're not going to throw a man or woman into a, let's say, a correctional pod like a jail with a bunch of men and hope she sinks or swims. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to put a fucking man just out of the sanctity of what that is, right? You know, because of sexual assault and things like that. It's more prevalent for a female to get sexually assaulted by a bunch of men than it is for a man to do that. So I don't know. It's just
No, you're
there's
absolutely
so
right.
much that
And
is there that people don't talk about.
no, you're right
Mm.
about the corrections things about being treated. But the thing is that they've done studies on this, and I think I might have said this on this podcast before. Um, they did a couple studies. They had a they what they did is they put on the they had a it was I took it from my criminologist class. They had a group of random like people in a room, and they showed them pictures, and they showed a picture, and they said this suspect is these are what he did. He theft this amount. What do you think he needs to be charged, right? And they all said, like, for the man it was 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
Then they did it with the woman, same charges, different group of people, 4 years probation after, like they really cut it down. And I think they even added
Soften the shit out of it.
they even added like an extra charge, like with like had a weapon or something, like
Yeah,
added,
yeah.
and it still was lower. Now, not only did this point light at like the difference between men and women when they're getting sentenced, it also pointed the difference between men and of race as well, because the black man, they gave him more time. Same charges as like the white man, because they showed multiple things, like multiple. It was
Yeah, they
yeah,
tried to
Well,
get a, yeah, it was a big study, I'd
yeah,
imagine.
yeah. Well,
well,
they
it's kind
did.
of like.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You go. Finish real quick.
No, that was finished.
I was gonna say it's kind of like the whole like court cases with child custody. You know, the man, father and mother, they'll go and they both want like custody. Most of the time, they rule in favor of the mother, even if say the mother's worse and like bad or into like the wrong kind of things, and the man's like perfectly fine, has a stable job, stable house, they'll still rule in favor of the mother, and put that child in a bad home, and the
Yeah,
father
But
will have to pay
yeah,
child support.
majority of the time, if you are in a divorce case and you're going after the custody of the kids, if they're 3 years and younger, more times, at least in Texas, it will go to the mother.
definitely
You
Texas.
need so
Yeah.
many extra extenuating circumstances to be able to claim to get I'll say ownership of the child, not ownership of the child, but
Custody.
custody of the child. As from
Custody
a,
and possession of the child.
yeah, from a man, you have to provide a lot of documents, and because a lot of times also has to go into effect, like most time the man is the one working. So who's
Yeah.
going to watch the kids? And now you have to find that extra support, and you got to provide that to
Yeah.
the court. So it's a lot that
And
goes
that's
into
all
it.
fair, but still, it's just so much that we would have to go
Oh.
through just for that compared to
Yeah, I mean, I feel this might be off topic a little bit, but one of the saddest stories that came out of Texas, I don't want to say around the Dallas area, maybe last year. It was two men. A man was at the porch of his ex-wife's house, saying, "Give me my kid. It's my turn to have custody." And it was. Her new husband or boyfriend comes out with his gun, and he's like, "Shoot me! Shoot me! Shoot me! I'm not leaving without my kid." Dude shoots him, kills him, and it was very sad. I don't know what I think it was recent enough to where I don't know what the outcome of it was, but yeah, he killed him, and that because of that, 3 lives were ruined in that exchange
Instantly.
over pride or whatever, over custody battle, over there's so much into it, but like basically his life was over. The stepfather or the new husband, his life is over, and the daughter, her life is going to be changed forever. Cause,
Dramatically changed. Especially if it was counted as murder, that means one dad's dead and the other new dad or whatever, he's going to fucking prison. Like,
yeah,
done.
and based off pride, I mean, really, it was like it could have been a more. It was definitely a heated argument, and it was. But like forever now, she has to go living her life knowing that her stepfather killed her father.
It
Like,
could have been handled a different way.
well,
easily.
kinda. Yes, like you can get to go to the sheriff's office and things like that. Yeah, but that's
Well, not even, and that's I guess the fucked up, right? And talking about like child care and custody and all that shit, that's a whole other
Yeah.
monster
That
and
is.
topic. But like the bare bones of it, if they did have a legal custody agreement through the state of Texas, and it was the father's time or weekend or week or whatever, all he had to do was call local police and legally present his case, his custody agreement, and the officers will tell the mom or the other parents, you have to give us the child. And if they chose not to give them the child, then law enforcement would get involved to go ahead and take the child to remove possession into the other parent, because that is what's legally agreed upon. CPS will get involved. It's a fucking mess. And most parents don't want to deal with that. So once law enforcement's like, hey, either you let him take her or them, or we will get involved and we're going to ruin everyone's fucking day.
Yeah.
And it's just a fucking mess, dude.
Yeah, so
It really is.
anyways, I know that's a little off topic, but
But
Yeah.
back to the point. Yes, men are 9 times out of
it goes
10
back to
not
the-
given custody.
Yeah.
Period.
But it goes back to the fact of it being harder for men and
Yeah.
putting a toll on them
and definitely
because of the fact of that.
Yeah, it's
They
definitely
don't get to see their
pride
you know
thing. Yeah, no, and you're right.
Yeah.
It's such a slippery slope, man. So I'm glad I don't have any kids, because that's a whole battle I never want to be in, and I never want to put my kid through. So.
Yeah.
But that also, and one of the weird things too, no, it's not. This is based off is even like at the gym, I'm very particular of where I stare. So people at the gym will see me. I'm looking at the ground. It's because I do not want to be called out for anything. Because when I'm at the gym, I don't care if my crush is there or anyone there that I'm in love with. I'm there for work.
anyone I'm in love with.
Yeah, there's the love of
I-
my life is there. I'm there to work. I'm not there to conversate. Like I'm very polite about it. I'll do small talk. Like, how you doing? Good. Or oh yeah, well, let me get after the set. I don't want to. No, it's not the place to talk for me. It's not a social gathering there. I'm there to get in work, and then like, so most of the time I'll say like, oh well, like, let me know when you're free, dude. I'll get your number. That's how I kind of end it. But the truth is that I'm not there to chit and chat. So whenever the girls that I think are cute or whatnot, I don't care. I'm not there to woo them. I'm not there to impress them. I'm not there to do that. And I wish, and a lot of gyms have this women's only section. A lot of gyms have it. I know that's gonna make me sound kind of like a little, maybe a little soft, but I would love for a men's only gym, so I don't have to feel pressure. But
Well,
see,
and that's what's sad, dude. It sucks that
that's
we live in
very
a
true.
time that's a problem, because 2 years ago this wasn't a fucking issue. And what made it a big concern was a lot of social media individuals, influencers, whatever the fuck you want to call them, started doing those bait things. The whole bait videos where they would set up their camera in a strategic location. They'd purposely wear stuff that was more insightful or attractive to the gym that day, and they would go do exercises that promoted certain, them bending over, or them having to have their cleavage out more, maybe pressing. So of course all these actions that are purposeful and meaningful to incite certain reactions, especially in the fucking male brain, right? In a straight male brain with a female who maybe is a little bit better endowed, maybe she is very fit, she's very pretty. Of course, all you're doing is playing with the male brain at that point. you're baiting people, and that's what's fucked up. That's what you're seeing a lot now is when these women are setting up their cameras and doing all these things. Some of them are literally there to bust their ass and work out and be better. Maybe they're doing TikToks because they're showing promoting working out. Cool, I'm all for that
Or they're
shit. You
just trying
get your
to make
fucking
sure
money.
that their form's right.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Anything, yeah.
You get your money. You do you. That's fine. But it's completely different when you're doing that with the intent of catching dudes that may take a glance. Maybe they're walking by. Maybe they have their headphones on, not even paying attention to you, but they looked in that general direction and oh, he's a fucking monster. Oh, look at this pervert. Come on, dude. And I've been there, and that's the only reason why I guess I get a little heated on it is because when I first moved up here to San Antonio, I had a situation where this girl, bro. When I tell you this girl was squatting 4 plates on each side, so 45 plates on each side, and was fucking pressing that shit. I can't even do 2. No, I can do 2. That's a lie. I can do 2. But, like, that's a fucking feat. That's not some small shit. So, yes, I stopped and I'm like, Jesus Christ, because she's there just boom, boom, pressing that shit
You're
like it's
just in
nothing.
awe, like amazed
Yeah,
about
I'm
that.
like,
Yeah.
holy fuck, that's a lot of weight. And she stopped and she came over. She goes, "Excuse me, I don't appreciate you watching me when I'm working out." I'm like, "Ma'am, I don't know you, and I'm sorry if I may have offended you, but that's fucking amazing. That's a lot of weight." And she kind of changed her position because now it's like I'm telling her, "Hey, I didn't care you in that. That's fucking incredible." Like how long is it? And me wound up having a whole conversation. It shifted, but it's like my that conversation could have gone one of two ways. The way
Yeah.
that it did, where we had an honest conversation about working out and how that's fucking great, or the other direction where she just thinks I'm a fucking pervert. And it really does suck that that's the day and age we live in now, that you can't freely walk around the gym and just do what you're there to do. If you even look in a wrong direction, you can be called a pervert or whatever else they want to call you now because there happened to be a woman doing a set of fucking leg presses in that direction. Cool. Fuck me, right?
Yeah, well, honestly, like I'm gonna go ahead and throw all the men under the bus. If you're wearing sunglasses at the gym, we know what you're fucking doing. You fucking
Hey, no,
pervert.
fuck that guy.
Yeah, if you're
Fuck
wearing
wearing
sunglasses
sunglasses
at the
inside?
gym, inside the
The
gym,
fuck
we
is-
know what you're doing.
Yeah,
They know what
no.
you're doing. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. Don't put like if it's outside gym, yeah, put the sunglasses on. But if you're
If you're
in
sitting in the back of the gym on the rowing machine, facing the fucking treadmills or the stair
squat
steppers,
racks, God. Yeah, we know what
and
you're
you're just sitting there, I know what you're doing, guy.
No, it's because the fluorescent lights get me. Yeah, no, we know what you're doing. But yeah,
Yeah.
so that and then the
Get
reason
a hat.
get a hat. The also like part of that as well is like when I'm at the gym, one of the things and that's why the men's only thing. Also, you get rid of those ego lifters. You know how many times like I don't lift for ego now.
I get that.
Oh, ego. I thought you said eagle. I was like,
yeah,
what the
yeah.
fuck is that?
You've never done an eagle workout?
No.
No, ego.
Ego.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah.
And so, a lot of times I'll be at the gym. I'm doing like the 15s because I'm trying to get that good form, whatever. I don't really care about the weight. I just want to get that good. Also, I don't want to get hurt. So I'm like really good. But
Yeah.
like a girl come sit next to me or over here, guys carrying the 20s, go get those 45s. And
They magically change them out, right?
Yeah. Just warming up over here. Yeah, so to me, it's like
1,000.
yeah, I guess I'll just do my push-ups over here, right next to you. So it's like if you get rid of that ego, like I honestly you'll probably go further off in your lifting career, and you'll also be a lot safer. You'll move up. You'll progressively overload to get a little bit stronger. So I think that would help a lot of people make gains. Well, granted, if you're lifting heavy and you're lifting heavy, a girl sits next to you and you're moving up the weight, I understand. But I see it too many times though. Like they got the 15s, they go put them up, get the 45s. I'm just like
Yeah, exactly. It's one thing if
It's
you
just
go
a
from like
dramatic jump in
25s to
weight.
a 35, I
Yeah.
get. But going from a 25 and you're now pumping out 50s, like
yeah.
I don't know.
And it's hard for me to judge, but I see it. I just feel like that's like the energy I get from a lot of these guys. And the gym that I go to, I won't say where, but no, it's Planet Fitness. That's my gym in my hometown, but I have a gym in Corpus I rather to go to because at the Planet Fitness one, it's just a bunch of ego lifters. Like really, it is. Like
That's all Planet
Really?
Yeah.
I've had the latter experience at a Platinum Fizz. I've had it where I was trying to do fucking deadlifts and I got told I couldn't do them. And it's like,
Oh, that's from staff. I'm talking about the.
well, I'm not gonna work out here anymore. Thank you. Oh, you can cancel my membership.
What's the point of a gym if you can't do the workouts that are there for to do?
Well,
Like,
it's because they don't.
They
like
have Planet
rules.
Fitness.
no,
is
I
all-
know.
yeah.
I've been to Planet Fitness,
so,
and it's
but-
stupid.
But it's for me. It's like these like guys that it just feels like they're going to the gym just because it's part of their daily stuff, which is good. But I don't feel like they're actually getting any work. You know, like and I said, like the people that
They're
work,
not there to make progression. They're just there because they have nothing else to do.
Yeah, well, that'll be good too as well. But I also feel like it's like this meet chicks kind of thing. Go meet the girlies. Just pump out some iron in front of them. So I just don't understand sometimes. I'm very clueless, and I'm oblivious to what's going on in certain situations where like it's like, damn, you've been here for an hour and you've gotten one set in, and you've been talking to this one person for a whole hour. Like, I'm not trying to rush you out if the gym's empty, but if it's packed, if it's 5 o'clock, I'm trying to get in and get out.
Fuck on, yeah.
Yeah, dude, get coffee together. Like, just stop the workout. Just go get coffee down the street.
And it's funny you say that because I did have a coworker who his whole thing was going to the gym to try to pick up girls. And me and him got in this whole conversation one day because he's like, oh, well, where do you meet girls? I was like, the bar? A restaurant? HEB? Like, what? He goes, oh, why meet him at the gym? And I was like, how many girls have you taken home from the gym, bro? On God, how many have you taken home? Well, like one. I met this one girl and we had dinner and I was like, yeah, you want to know how many I have in the way that I do things? Okay, you don't. It's better off that way. Because it doesn't make sense. Like, if you're solely going to the gym to try to pick up chicks, you're doing it wrong. And this is a topic for a whole other call or a whole other fucking video, and I'd love to do that. It's going to be fun. But,
down.
yeah, no. If you're going to pick up chicks, you're doing it wrong.
The RC
Sorry.
method.
The RC method.
Detached.
And let's just say I was a whole lot of fun.
So yeah, that just wanted to bring
I'm
that up.
telling mom.
Yeah, I'm telling your mom too.
I'm telling your mom.
Yeah, I'm gonna. She's listening to it right now. I'm gonna tell her.
She's gonna
fucking
join the call right
snitches.
now. Pops up.
She pops up. Really? Let's talk about this whole different RC. So I do think it's an interesting take on that. But I agree. That's one of the I guess social aspects as men we have to deal with. I'm maybe one of the few people on the whole planet that wants a men only gym. But also, I mean, if we did do that,
I think it's called a frat house.
Oh no, I don't want to be part of that culture either. That's a whole other culture that we could probably get
That
into.
is a
That's a weird
stupid
subculture.
culture.
But
And see, one of the best times I had working out, and I know we're tangenting again here, but like kind of to your men only thing was when I was working with as a contractor for Homeland because there was a gym that was specifically just for all the correctional officers, all the security team, and for ICE agents, everyone could kind of use it communitively, and
Excuse me.
no, it was literally to go because everyone knew it. We all worked together, right? So it was literally, I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna get my fucking workout done, and I'm gonna leave. And it was probably the best gym experience I ever had when I was going there because I didn't worry about shit. I didn't care if I looked a certain direction. I didn't care if I looked at somebody while they were working out. Like I wasn't there to do anything more than I'm going in, I'm gonna get my fucking workout done, and I'm gonna leave. And that's how everyone's mentality was there, and it was great. It was such a good fucking experience as a gym, and I'd never had that since.
I mean, if you go, I used to go to the gym at like 4, and it would be pretty dead. So that was kind of a nice little. It would be like one other
4
guy
a.m.?
there. Yeah, 4 a.m.
Yeah, I've done that too.
Yeah,
When I was
Going
on nights.
early, it'd be nice. Yeah.
yeah, because you don't really see too many of that. You'll start if you work out to like 6 or 7, you might start seeing the more of an older crowd there. So that's kind of an interesting take on like what the because they get up early already. They're probably up at 4 in the morning drinking coffee, reading the paper, and then they agree to go to the gym. So but I wouldn't really see too many women like there at 4 in the morning. Maybe one will come in, but it would always be me, and then maybe like at 5 another guy would come in, and then around 5:36 we'll start seeing kind of like a older crowd start coming in. But yeah. It's not even about the. It's not even. This isn't the gym episode of the podcast.
Yeah, not gym. Back to men's mental health.
Back to men's mental health. Yeah.
right,
So
where we
Hey
at?
man, it's
Yeah.
not us if we don't tangent like 7
That's
fucking times
fair.
in a matter of like
Exactly.
10 minutes.
the one of the things that I wanted to kind of cover is kind of the work balance, the work. We talked work balance a little bit with our fathers not being able to show up to games, and then we talked about work aspect where where the man doesn't work and the woman does work. We talked about that, but just in the field, Do you think you have more, generally speaking, and I think Ed might have a good take on this? Do you think that you
Yeah.
work harder? Like, you're gifted more work than the other? This might cause controversy. If you don't want to answer, it's fine. But I mean, do you think you're gifted more hard work?
At least in my profession, I don't think so because I'm in the drug GM department, right? Since I've been in drug GM department, my bosses, except for one of my bosses when I came here in drug GM, have all been females. And they will throw and they will work harder and they will work crazy amounts more than I have sometimes. Like they go. I mean, there are certain things where my boss will be like, "Oh, I'm not gonna lift that. You do it." But she's also my boss, so it's like, okay, is it because I'm a man or is it just because my boss and she doesn't want to do it?
She doesn't want to
But
actually stun yourself.
but there are also been times where she'll make me and Kevin lift stuff off because we are men and we are so stronger. And she'll be like, I'm not gonna do it. Y'all do it. But there's also times where she'll get right there with me and we'll fucking move something together. Like they work harder, and so I don't necessarily know. I know there are certain aspects where that is seen, and there are expectations, I guess, that like, I guess doing dry grocery and stuff. Sometimes they would put the men on like the bigger aisles or the heavier aisles, and I think you've known this, Steve,
Yeah.
because well they'll be faster and they can lift it easier, so they'll throw them there and they'll throw the women on like different ones. So I guess there's that kind of expectation, but at least for my profession, not necessarily.
I've had the. You're right, because when I used to be a stalker, we used to have we had one female on the team. We had two, but I never worked with her. I had worked with the other one.
Well,
And
yeah.
she the funny shit happened is, so what's the easiest aisle you think to stock in grocery?
Well, are we talking about where you worked? Because I worked there too.
Well, you worked at a different. It was totally different when I was there. But like, what do you think is like the easiest department to stock?
Oh, bro, fucking big paper.
Okay, that's right. Second biggest.
Big paper.
Big paper. Yeah. Okay, that's so. She would get big paper. That was one of her aisles, and the other
Bread.
one, not bread.
I think bread.
bread.
Well,
is
bread's
not,
kind of the trays. The trays are heavy.
That's fair.
Not just heavy. There's a intelligence part. You got to rotate.
Well, actually, yeah, you have to rotate.
There's a
yeah.
rotation you got to do.
So we're talking about another easy aisle.
Yeah, think of bulk.
Cereal.
So that's another easy. No, okay, I'll just
Or
cut you
are
off.
you
I'm-
talking-
Just say it, because
I'm
he's
gonna
gonna
say
keep
no,
going.
Or
Yeah.
are you gonna say small soap?
No, the way it
Paper?
normally would work. So you would think that the girls wouldn't take on the heavy. We had this one stalker. She would do paper. That was one of her aisles, which is the easiest aisle, and the other aisle she'd get was dog food.
That's a bitch and a half.
Yeah, they.
That's not easy.
No,
I've done
I meant
dog
like
food.
easy,
Sucks.
like case count easy. Yeah.
Well, but yeah,
Oh
but
wait,
still,
no, wait.
you're
Are you
throwing
talking
big
case
ass
count or
bags.
are you talking bags? Yeah.
Yeah, well, one case back then before they changed the whole system. Like one bag
That's true.
was stocking one case. But yeah,
Now it's not like that 'cause the pallets come
But
with
she
the
would. But
bags.
this is what she would do. She would stock the entire dog food pallet and then leave all the heavy bags that were on the bottom. She'd just park it, and then we'd have to circle back and stock it out for her. But the funny thing, yeah, that was something that we would have to do. But the funniest thing ever, the reason that they put her on that aisle is the lead stalker, the stock controller. She mouthed off to him one time, and he said he never wanted to see her ever again. So he's put her on the complete opposite side of the store. Because normally they wouldn't give dog food to
A female.
Yeah, they wouldn't. They would give it to like a hefty young man. They wouldn't give it. They also wouldn't give it to like a 90-pound guy either.
Yeah, so she was being blackballed without being blackballed. That's fair.
Yeah, I don't know what the context was, but he told me that, and I was like, really? And he was like, yeah, she mouthed off to me, and she pissed me off. So I wanted her to be the complete opposite, but she would leave the last, what's the heavy bag, 50-pound bags?
Yeah,
like
like the bottom bags.
Yeah,
and
she would
stuff.
leave those, and then she just park
Even
it.
though they just go on the bottom, they don't
Yeah.
go high. They go on the bottom.
Yeah, we'd circle back, pull the pallet back of the aisle right before the store opened, stock those out, and then we move it. It wasn't a
Be
big
done.
deal, but it was just something that we would just do because we just knew like she could.
But-
What she was
but
doing
it
before,
is-
she was sliding them on, taking them off the pallet, and putting them on the floor in front of it.
Yeah.
So we just said leave it on the pallet. If we're gonna still come back and put them up, just leave it on the pallet.
But what's fucked
But
up
if
is
she's
it is
signing them off,
kind
she
of a
could
big
have
deal.
just stocked them. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's
That's
a
a
big
whole
deal to
other
me in
thing.
the sense of, and maybe I'm wrong because I never worked that job, but I'd imagine that if you're responsible of aisle 1, 2, and 3, and you don't complete your aisle and you leave shit, that's your ass because you
No, it
didn't
is.
finish your work. So if
It's-
she's dumping shit on her aisle that she's not completing, it should still be her ass.
Yeah,
And to
well,
reference what I said a minute ago, like, well, just for everyone understanding, blackballing, if you don't know what that is, it's where you're not going to be retaliated against by a manager because that they can get in trouble for, but they're going to make your life uncomfortable. They're going to give you tasks and things to do that either suck or exhausting or difficult, just in the sense of, you know what, you wanted to fuck with me, I'm going to ruin your day.
Yeah.
Just so if you didn't know what blackballing was, that's what it
They'll
is.
basically just put you on the
Um,
worst aisles or the aisles no one wants to do.
yeah, and everyone has some form of
Because
blackballing in every job.
I will say,
It's
like, when I was running it, because I've run it for grocery, frozen, and then drug GM, I never, like, I had women that outthrew half of the fucking guys I had. Like, in Iran, or well, back home, you knew some of the guys, dude. Like, there was some women on the team that just threw more than they did.
oh,
And
I know that team very well.
yeah, and it's like, I wouldn't, it was crazy because, like, there were some people that I'd just be like, they're going to throw better. I'm going to throw them here instead of over here because I need the support.
Yeah,
But I never had that thought about, it being a woman or a guy unless it came, if it would ever, I never did a bulk grocery, but if it would have came to like dog food, I guess with dog food, yeah, I guess a little bit, but like it just depended who I had. But I guess more so, yeah,
yeah.
you would have whoever knew it fastest is what I went. Whoever knew it best, they went to that aisle.
This was a kindness of this was a kindness that we would do.
that's right.
It wasn't like we were like she was adding work to us. We were just just to make it smoother. I mean, it wasn't like she left the pallet and would go home. She'd
Yeah, and
come
it'd be
back.
different if she was ugly to everybody, right? If she was just a bitch to
I don't
everybody.
even think she was being a bitch. I don't know the context of it.
Yeah.
They just could have been a bad day for
Yeah.
both of them or one of them.
I get
And it
that.
just
Yeah,
was
I'm
a
sure.
bad
Yeah,
interaction.
I'm reading as she fucked up,
Yeah,
but she may have not actually done anything.
well, yeah,
And the
also
dude just didn't want to deal with it.
also it was a mutual thing because she obviously didn't want to be near him either. So
Well, yeah.
that was kind of the takeaway. It wasn't like she was getting punished. It was also kind of a two-way streak on that. But yeah,
Yeah.
So RC, you've been in the correction field. Is it different for men and women there, like that work there? I'm sure that they don't want to put like females in like super high security, or I mean, maybe I'm saying this all wrong.
Well, he
So
kind of touched on that a minute ago.
yeah, I touched on it a little bit, and I'll elaborate a little more with this. So it's a 50-50. I've had both. I've had some women correctional officers or coworkers that are fucking amazing, man. They will outwork dudes next to me. They're not afraid to fucking throw down. Hell, I had a captain when I was in corrections. I was afraid of that chick. Like
Yeah, let me tell
there
you
was
about
one
that.
day that we fucked up in the picket. We made a mistake in a sense, and I went in the pod. I was like, "Fuck this! I'm gonna go with the inmates because I don't want to get my ass chewed by her." Because I was afraid with her. And all the inmates were talking shit, and I'm like, "Fuck you, dude! You challenge her. Have fun." Like I'm not gonna fuck with her. If you want to fuck with her, I'll call her right now. She will ruin your day, and she had no problems doing with it. Like, but then there's also I've had other women's when I was working in certain departments or fields where it's like because they were women, they didn't want to do anything, right? Because they were women, they didn't want to move the heavier boxes or they didn't want to have to do the physical labor. They would rather sit and do paperwork. And it's like, no, we have the same title and we make the same money. I don't give a fuck if you're a male or a female. I expect you to work the same amount as I will. Now, granted, if I'm going to go above and beyond, cool, that's on me. But if we're both doing this job together and are both our responsibilities to do this job together, then there's no question to me. Now, that's also my mentality in the aspect, right? I view everybody as equals. I try my hardest to view everyone as equals, especially if we're getting paid the same and doing the same job. And as we all know, right, that argument's always been there. It's always been the, oh, women make less than men. Bullshit. Because they don't. It's been proven women do not make less than men. Women choose
Maybe,
jobs that are simpler and do not make as much. You're never going to have a woman who's going to purposely go and decide to work construction when she could work a job that's maybe office work, right? At least, don't get me wrong, actually, no, I know a couple that would choose the construction job.
but of
But
course you're gonna make
still,
more in the construction field than you are in the office field.
even if it's just by hours alone, right? You
Yeah,
work 8 hours here, but you work 12 hours over here. You're going to make more money. It's just
but then
statistically
people will
proven.
use that thing that, oh, well, they make more than that. Well, yeah, because we're doing that job. If you
Yeah.
do this job too, you'll make the same money.
And I've had it happen. I've had it happen where a female coworker was bitching because we were making more money or we were doing this and that or we had a favorite in a sense, right? The supervisor viewed us to do things more than they would the other officers, other people. And it's like, well, when you told them all you want to do is fucking sit at the computer and type all damn day and we're out there getting shit done, of course they're not going to tell you to come do that because you didn't want to. They tried before. You shot that shit down. But then again, like I said, I've had both sides of the fence with everything I've done in my experiences, and I've done a lot of shit. But to say that it's different in a man sense, definitely. Like women will blatantly most of the time in my experience choose a softer position or softer job that's not as physically intensive or demanding, and that's understandable. I mean, it's physics, right? Biology. Men are stronger than women. That's biologically proven, and I get where that whole mentality may come from. Now, new age, new generation, getting into your newer generation of workforce, I'm seeing this balance. I'm seeing where men and women are viewed at the same point, and neither of them want to do manual labor, whether you're a man or a woman. It's getting this weird spot where jobs like that are not being viewed as fruitful. So that's going to be interesting to see. But I also see a lot of women taking on jobs that typically you wouldn't see a woman take, which is actually also very, very interesting and refreshing to see. And it's going to be interesting what the next couple of years has to offer because of that. Men are starting to become more, I don't want to say docile. That's the wrong word for it, but
Soft.
yeah,
That's also the wrong word.
masculinity. Well, masculinity is being patronized and belittled to a point that a lot of men are choosing to change their thinking and change themselves in a way that could be viewed as soft, and I view it as soft. I know it's the wrong word to use, but it is to me. It's if you and me, regardless of gender, yet again, I'll circle all the way back. Regardless of gender, if you and me are given the same task or same job to get done, I expect you to get it done the same as I would. I don't give a fuck who you are. And that's just not the case in some senses.
Well, I
But
wouldn't
that's my
expect.
opinion, yet again.
No, yeah, I wouldn't expect it to get done the same way as I was gonna do it. I would expect to get done the way it's supposed to get done.
There you go. Yeah, that's probably
Yeah,
a better way to
just
say it.
because like that's my standard doesn't mean it has to be their standard. But obviously,
Exactly.
if there's a benchmark, you got to hit. Like let's say like for instance, Ed, you stock groceries and stuff. Let's say I'm stocking 110 cases. The average they want them to stock is 85, right? So if they're
Yeah.
stocking 90, they're above average. So I would expect them to stock above average, like 86, 87. But I wouldn't expect them to hit triple digits. That wouldn't be my first guess. So I would want them to hold to their standards of what the company wants to hold. Like one of the best
Okay.
incentives that I've ever gotten was when I worked at HEB. Was like I used to work solo in a department, and what they would say um, they would say that if I stay late, you have to cut somewhere. But my boss had this rule. He said, if you finish, you can go home. So he knew it wouldn't take me 3 hours. He'd take like 8, but he would always say something like, if you finish, you get to go home. And I'd be like, what?
Yeah, like,
Bet.
I'm
So
moving.
But
I'm
that's
outta here.
incentive.
Yeah,
And there's
so-
always incentive.
Yeah, that's my incentive right there. So again, back to the whole holding to a standard. But yeah, it'd be to the standard of the company, not to the standard of what I'm doing. But I get what you're saying.
And that's what I mean. I guess how I said it, right? Like if I'm gonna go above and beyond, I don't expect them to do that shit.
Exactly,
But
yeah.
if we both have the same job, same task, I expect both of us to get it done without there being any deviation or oh no, that's a female, so she doesn't have to do the same amount or do it as equal to me. It's like no, we have the same fucking job. I expect us both to do the same job. But
Well,
yet again,
I
that's me.
mean, in my field, like I'm in education, like predominantly females.
Yep.
So I don't really think we have any. Sorry, rehydration, guys.
That's just filled with Miller Lite. Don't listen to him. He's lying.
It's lying. It's definitely not water.
It's just vodka
It's-
punch, you know,
it's
not a big
vodka,
deal.
vodka with a hint of a squirt of a Mio.
Yeah.
Well, in my field, like in education, a lot of the teachers that I work with, and I'm really not in charge of like the teacher outcome, but I'm really big on like I have to follow up with a lot of the teachers because I've been a veteran of the program I'm in. So a lot of them, they have their own teaching ways, and it's really nice. I'm not gonna say that they don't. Sometimes most of the teachers are not doing what they're supposed to do, and men or well, in my program it's mostly female, but so on like probability, it would be a woman or a female that's not doing what she's supposed to because there's like 3 men and 40 women.
Yeah,
So like
just-
I could go. The other guy that I work with does really well with the students, and the other one sometimes he does well. But I'll go into a class and I'll see they're not following the rules. So it's not just like the manual labor. It's like they're finding ways around getting around the simple stuff. Like I'll come in there and I'd be like, hey, you can't be giving out this long of a break because now you're stealing time, and they won't understand that. And I've said that because we're supposed to give them a break, but when you've given them 15 minutes of break, like that's too long. So I have to go in there and tell them like the rules here. But a lot of it is like willful. It's like
Willful?
willful. What'd you say? Say it again.
willful.
I don't like that you know words and I don't. Purposely,
You had it. You said it like twice. But you kept
were
second
there.
guessing
Yeah,
yourself.
you were like halfway through it, and then just like, no, wait, that's not it.
Purposeful ignorance. Like they were just avoiding. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't know that, but like, did you read the handbook? Did you ask? Like, so things like that kind of take. I could see that overseeing it. But
Or how many times have you told them? Like,
well, I'm not really in charge of like babysitting. I've already said that like to a lot of I'm not here to babysit you. I'm not here to hold your hand, but I'm here to help as much as I can. Because if you need an answer, ask me. I'll tell you. I'm not like gatekeeping, but one of the scariest things though that I had worked for, and I guess I'll go ahead and jump on this one now. Thank you, RC and Ed, for sharing. I appreciate that. Both of those perspectives are really well thought of. I worked when I was in NB. I worked at a mental health facility, and that was the most stressful job I think I've had in a long time, and it was also the most worrisome because a lot of the people were females, and they would be over watching a house full of men. Or sometimes they had one female house, so a lot of times if they got lucky, they would get in that house. But the men weren't just like 115 pounds, 5'7". They're like 6'2", 270. These are big boys, and they would put me in that house, and I'd work it whatever. But I would always be afraid when they put one of the ladies in charge of the house because they're by themselves. Like, if he has an episode, like, there's no way.
She ain't stopping him. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there's no way.
Happening.
And they would actually do that. They would put them in that house, and I would be so worried about them. So I would be like, hey, here's my number. If anything happens, I'll come back. Just please give me a call, like anything. And there was one where one of the people grabbed a knife and tried to stab one of the young ladies. And she quit right after that. She quit. There was another, she quit. Like, she quit immediately. There was another time, and the thing is, when we go to these meetings, and the people that would run these meetings are like 18, 19-year-olds, and I think at the time I was 29, 18, 19-year-olds, and they were just like 110 pounds, and they would just talk a high game as like they would talk with their chest, like I tell them this, and then they don't do that. I make them do that. Like, they would just like talk a high game, and I'm just like, there's no way. Like, there's no way.
They would break you in half if they got mad.
It was such a liability that I felt like that company will go under soon, because it was such a liability that I think that, like, if one of these guys has an episode, and I've been to, I have during my like 4 months working with them, I think I had about 4 or 5 episodes where they break the glass with their face, they charge you, they throw stuff at you, they pull knives.
Crazy episodes.
Yeah, and I was lucky most of the time to have somebody somebody there. I would have a guy that would come in and hang out with me, actually a good friend of mine, and we would just talk and stuff. But they really kind of screwed me on a couple of the houses I got. But I would just feel so bad if they had an episode with a young lady and there's no one in call. There was nothing going on, so it was very frightful. And but for the most part, though, in my professions, like as a teacher, as a teacher in the corporate field in data, and even sanitation. I worked sanitation for a little bit. For a few months, I worked in sanitation. I won't say where, but I was.
You were a bag man?
Yeah, I was a bag man. Yeah.
He secured the bag.
Yeah, I worked with this lady, and she was probably around 45. She was hilarious. She would bust her ass and she made the most money out of all of us because one, she had a truck. That was the big one. That was the big qualification to have. So she made more money than me already, and then also she got more apartment complex. We would go and pick up trash at apartment complexes, and we'd make a pretty good. It wasn't based off like luck. It was like you show up, you get the job done, and you leave. And the first day I got there, this is why she was like the best coworker. She goes, "Our job is to throw the trash. Once the trash can fills, we leave. Got it?" I was like, "Got it. Let's go." And then we just hauled ass, and we killed it, man. Her and I killed it, and we were such a good team. But so in any other field, like, it was fine. She made more than me in that field. As far as me in the education field, I think I make more than all the other instructors that we have. But that's just because I'm in a leadership position. But prior to that, I made the same. There was no raises in my program before I got in the leadership position. We all made the same amount of money. So I've never really seen that split too much.
Yeah.
But I will say, though, one of the things that I hate about the education field, I went through so many interviews in San Antonio, and there was one interview that always stuck with me. I applied to school and I had an interview with the principal. She was probably the rudest person I think I've ever did it, and I think it had only the fact that as I was a man. I didn't get a call back, which I expected, which I'm glad I didn't. She was extremely. She goes. I would be talking. I'd answer a question. I'd have an extra point. She would stop me immediately and go, "All right." And I go. She goes, "Listen, this is how this is gonna work. Whenever you answer my question, I'm gonna cut you off because I don't got time to waste." That's how she told me. I was like, pfft. But she just felt like she was, and I knew it because this is how she started the conversation off. She goes, "I'm blah blah blah. I've been an educator for this many years. This is my first time being a principal, and I'm gonna run it a little differently." And being a principal, I don't know if that's male or female dominated. In my personal experience, it's kind of both. I had 2 male principals and 2 female principals.
I've seen both.
But it was so I felt like I felt not uncomfortable. I just felt like she already kind of had an idea about me, and
she already had a preconceived, whether it was about you or not. She already had an agenda.
Yeah, like
it sounded like
it just sounded like I was just meeting a quota for applications. So, but I do feel like men do make more. But again, you're right. I mean, men do take on some of the more difficult jobs. But see, RC is the exception to this rule.
He's unemployed.
Not for long, bitch. Not for long.
That's how
I couldn't pass it up. I'm sorry.
Eat a dickhead. Even prior to being unemployed, RC was the exception to this rule. I don't want to get into specifics, so I don't want to give it away. But the whole man makes more than the woman. Yeah. Right now
we talked about it last round.
Yeah. Now we're seeing an uprising, like women making more money. It's because they're gaining more skill sets that are more applicable to the field they're in. Like if you, all right, one more, and then I had someone that I went to school with. She got a liberal arts degree. Now, if you don't know what a liberal arts degree is, I'm not gonna say it's the most pointless degree to get, but it's just a degree in extra studies.
It means you didn't know what the fuck you wanted to do in college.
Exactly. So let's not specialize in any
But you
field.
probably had a good time.
Probably. She probably did. But she could not find a job, and she didn't understand why. She put it on Facebook one time, and I just was like, what do you mean you don't know why? You can't even decide on the field you want to get into.
Yeah.
And let alone, like, like if you get a degree in, general studies, that just means you have a little more education than a high school graduate. So she couldn't find a job, and that's part of the issue is like, if you get into a field like liberal arts or in a field in like music or a field in, it's a lot more challenging to get a job. So therefore, your income is lower than the rest of the people that got a specialized degree in cybersecurity or got a specialized degree in mathematics. Well, I'm the special case because I should be doing more. But you got a specialized degree and you're in that field, you're obviously going to make more money. So not only is this the hard working jobs that you're missing out on, but it's also this special skill set that you're missing. Now, again, we have friends that are making 6 figures in the tech field, and some of them are girls.
My wife.
Well,
I was trying to be.
No, you're good. No,
I didn't. Last one.
Well,
I was like, we talked about last round.
I didn't want to give out any too much information, so I said friends. But
She wears the
Oh, I
pants,
thought that
Archie
you were gonna
wears the
say about the
skirts, it's
pay rate. I
okay.
was like, if you're in the tech field and you've been in it for at least 2 years, you should be at the six-figure range or higher.
well, you
At
got to
least
think
majority of people.
in the tech field also, like that also includes data clerks, and data clerks don't make any money. The people just collecting data,
I
so
guess.
they don't make that much money. And if you're a data clerk, you make
Yeah.
good money. Comment down below where you work at so I can look into it. But yeah,
Yeah.
the data clerks don't make that much money because they're just someone getting the data. They're not manipulating the data. They're really not. Depending on if they are or not, that's like extra editor. Because then there's data clerk and there's like data engineer, things like that. That's where the money comes in, and a lot of them
I'd
do
imagine
transfer.
doing statistics and analysis for like Tesla, I'd imagine would make a lot of money.
Oh yeah, I mean, but again, collecting the data is not the one that's making the money. It's the person
That's
manipulate
fair.
the ones that's manipulating the data and things like that. Like a data clerk, literally, like some data clerks, all they do is they just like made an order for these blue Teslas. Let me go ahead and put blue here for. Like it's not very challenging, but some of them are like
It's
for
almost
yeah.
like a help desk style role. Because even like help desk in IT, you're not making a lot of money. I'm sorry, you're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Well, all right, guys. I think we
I
covered a
mean,
lot. Oh, good. Ed.
I was just say it just all goes back to the money part. It just goes back to what are you doing?
Yeah.
And do you have a degree? It doesn't have to deal with gender, it just has to deal with what are you doing and do you have a degree?
Yeah.
But maybe back in the
Literally.
day, though, there was probably
Well, back in the day,
a hard
yes.
stigma. Like it was
But
like
now,
it was really bad in like the '80s. Like the amount of
well, yeah. No, of
like
course.
quid pro quo that was happening on back then. It was really sad and like that was
Yeah.
kind of a that there was always like jokes like how'd you move up so fast. But like
Yeah.
yeah, so like that was such a big thing in the '80s, maybe early '90s, and they really now every job you ever go to, quid pro quo was in the like the training.
Yeah.
You gotta know you can't be doing sexual favors for promotions, whether you're on one end or the other. You just can't.
Yeah, and you know what? And I'm gonna speak on it. It still happens. I
Oh,
personally know a situation where that's exactly how someone may or may not have gotten their promotion.
Damn.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not that it doesn't happen, but
a couple
yeah,
people
back in the
actually.
day, it was a bigger thing. Now,
Yeah.
it's
Now it's
they
a
try
lot
to.
harder to get away with, especially if you're a big corp. Small companies, yeah. Big corp, no, fuck no, that shit ain't happening.
I don't know, man. Retail, I feel like gets away with it all the time.
That's
retail,
fair too.
retail gets away
That's
with
fair
it.
too.
Like it's a weird. It's if it's. I mean, it's one thing if it's two sided, like it's both on both perspectives. Like everyone's getting what they want. That's still wrong, but it's even wrong whenever it's like someone getting pressured into that. That's where it gets really, really wrong. But we'll cover that maybe at another time. I know you guys hear us talk about work a lot. All right. Well, last thing we got really to talk about is RC is going to give us some stats, right? Some numbers.
Yes.
And
So,
good. I'll let
go
you
ahead.
take over. You got it.
So this is from Priori, so Priory. They are an organization who focus on mental health, therapy, psychiatry, and things like that. Not just specifically men's, but all mental health and mental health issues. They did a study and they did a giant poll from just different men across multiple areas, both in our country and other countries. And this is what they wound up coming with. Um, and specifically, this section of it was polled from 1,000 men in the UK. 77% of men suffered from common mental health symptoms like anxiety, stress, and depression. So out of 1,000 men, 77% said I deal with stress, high stress, anxiety, and depression issues. 40% have never spoken to anybody about their mental health issues, meaning they felt or feel that talking to somebody probably wasn't necessary, or even why would they, right? 29 of those say they're too embarrassed to actually go ahead and do that. So yet again, it's a pride thing almost, or just scared. And then 20% say there's a negative stigma when it comes to the idea of a man having to seek mental health, period. So out of that 40%, 20 of them are like, no, I won't do it because it makes me look like a bitch. No, that's not okay. The biggest cause of mental health issues, men's mental health issues in their lives, 32% stated was work, another 31% stated was finances, and 23% stated was their overall health. So it's a very intriguing thing to think about, right? Work being the predominant, finances being the secondary, right? Well, most men are the breadwinner. Most men are the only form of income. So of course they're going to worry about money, right?
Yeah.
If this is the only way we can make our lives happen is by me busting my ass day in day out, and if I don't, we lose everything. Fuck yes, you're going to be stressed. Everybody would, right? Everyone right now in this day, I don't know anybody who will not stress about money. Unless you're like a bazillionaire or have a bunch of fucking millions or whatever. Everyone I know will tell you if they have to worry about money, it's a fucking stressful thing. And then the last thing here shows that 40% of men would take thoughts of suicide or self-harm. That's not okay.
What percent
To
is that
think
again?
of 40%
Jeez.
of 1,000 out of 1,000. So, like, to think that 40% have clearly stated they've never talked to anybody about mental health issues, and another 40% state that they would take on the thought of self-harm or suicide, like, that's not okay, man. It's not. But what do I know?
Yeah, well, it's definitely not okay to feel that way. And I definitely feel like men feel so much pressure and all those things. I mean, I didn't 32%, right? You said for work related, right?
32% felt like work was the primary reason of their stress and mental health issues.
And then finances, but that kind of goes right with each other though, almost, right? Like if
To me,
you
they're,
yeah,
they're one and the same,
yeah,
yeah.
like yeah, you're worried like it's like you're worried about, stress at work. Well, I guess stress at work and stress because like the money is not matching what you need to survive.
Yeah.
I can feel that. I guess you can separate them, but that's interesting. I didn't. Thank you so much for those data. That's a
Yeah.
really
Thanks.
that's an eye opener right there for everyone out
That's
there.
it's crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I have. RC, you have anything else?
No, not at the moment. That's everything.
All right, and I'm definitely going to put down in the comments some resources that everyone could look into for men's mental health and just finding someone to reach out to. I feel like it's underrepresented data of where we don't know who needs help and who does need help, but I know that most men are not going to admit to it. So there's a lot of programs that will help you, and I definitely think everyone should seek help when they need it, to reach out to a friend or an expert, and before you make any rash decisions.
Yeah.
That's all I have for everyone. RC, you got anything else, Ed?
No, just you know,
Yeah, we'll
everything
make.
was said.
Yeah,
I think we touched on pretty much everything we could have.
Yeah. Just
yeah,
there's always a different way.
I,
Always just don't be afraid to talk to someone. Someone will be there to help. You don't have to do it alone.
I would like to close out with that. Yeah, like he said, even if you don't want to discuss with your friends and family, I'm sorry, man. We're grown ass men, dude. You don't have to tell anybody you're seeing a fucking therapist. You don't. Whose business is it? I mean, if you have a significant other, of course, let them know and voice that to your significant other. Hey, I don't want anyone knowing about this yet. Or hey, I don't want anyone knowing that I'm doing this. And go see a fucking therapist. Who's really gonna be that intrusive in your life to know, oh, he went and saw this doctor, yada yada yada. Nobody. Even if you have that fear or thought of like maybe, you know, I'm a bitch for doing this, or maybe I'm self-conscious, or I'm just scared. You'd be surprised on how many now, especially now, mental health individuals are just via FaceTime. Like they will literally FaceTime you, you have a conversation with them, they will help you. You don't have to physically go into a doctor's office anymore and sit down with a shrink. You can do it over fucking your phone with 20 minutes of time. And most, if not all insurances now cover it. And if they don't, most insurances at least give you 5 free visits. So take it, do it. And if you really want to go the further extent, if you work in any, and I will stress this till I die, if you work in any capacity, a first responder, law enforcement, or military, talk to someone. Even if it's a friend, even if it's a family member, even if you do a fucking teledoc, talk to somebody, because it is imperative that you're not alone. You're not going through it alone. You do everything else with a partner or with your battle buddies or your fucking squad. Why are you going to go at this alone? It's not fucking worth it. Reach out to somebody. Somebody's there for you. That's my
Don't.
soapbox, and I'll get off of
Well,
it.
yeah, and just don't be ashamed. Like, let's just go back to what he said about the whole like, if you like the thought of, oh, I'm being a bitch, or oh, this is whatever. Like, so what? If anybody says that, they're just too scared to get help, or it's you're bettering yourself. It's nothing
That's
to be
sometimes the
ashamed of.
one.
It's nothing to be scared of. It's help.
Yeah, a lot of times those
Everybody
dudes
needs
that are
help.
saying you're a bitch for going to get help, they probably need help themselves,
They
and
may
they're
have it
probably in the
worse than
same
you.
fucking boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're doing something to better yourself, which is amazing. It's one of the hardest things to do, really.
Hmm.
You should never feel ashamed to do that.
Well, all
Steve?
right. Yeah, thank you guys for sharing. I appreciate that. Make sure to follow us on all our socials. They will be linked down below. You can definitely find this on all your podcast outlets, especially Spotify, Apple Music, and you can find us. You can see our cute faces on YouTube. This is going to be a fun season. Very excited of what's to come.
Yep.
That's all I have for this episode, guys. Come check us out. Next week we'll be posting every Tuesday. So definitely check us out every Tuesday around 6:30 p.m. CST time. I'll catch everyone later. All right, bye.
Later, y'all.